So today I want to talk about a new method for vlogging, a new way to vlog that I think is going to be absolutely massive in 2025. It's already been going bigger and bigger over the last year, but I think it's really going to explode. And this method is slightly different to the more classical type of vlogging. Now, obviously, vlogging is coming back into fashion as people are craving more and more authentic content. But this method is something I like to call the grandpa method. Now, the grandpa method is a strategy that many channels, some of which I'm about to show you, are using to get absolutely millions and millions of views with low effort, very simple, low editing, almost no editing types of videos. So you just get in front of the camera and you talk on a particular topic. So I'm going to take you through a number of channels. I'm going to explain to you what the granddad method is, how you can do it, how you can leverage it, and you're going to see for yourself. There's also something that you may have seen in some of these channels before, but there's something that people are missing and experts have even missed as well, I think. So you're going to get to understand that and then how you can leverage this in 2025 to start growing your own vlogging style channel, which is going to be much easier and much faster for you. So let's jump into it. So the first channel you may have heard of is Dry Creek Wrangler. Now, this guy has become absolutely massive, and he's literally getting nearly 2 million monthly views. I think he's going to be getting a lot more. He's just been on the Modern Wisdom podcast, and this guy is absolutely brilliant. Now, he was originally talking about horses. He taught and trained horses, and then he has a school, sort of a cowboy school, where he was then helping other young men and everything to become cowboys and just grow as men, I believe. So if I've got that wrong, feel free to let me know. But essentially, this guy now does very simple content. He started to have days where he's just speaking to the camera and literally just on a pipe or smoking a cigar and chatting about life lessons. And this really tapped into something that men really, young men especially, really needed at this time. And then he just started doing more and more of that laid back content. And he realized that this was actually what people wanted from him. They liked the horse stuff, but they weren't really coming for that. They were coming from him, for him as a personality. And as you can see, it's one take stuff, long vlog style videos, and then literally just one takes, just talking on a particular topic. And I'm going to break things down very soon. I just want to show you a few more examples before we dive into the actual strategy itself. The next one is we have Sam Sulek. So Sam Sulek is the muscly guy that does very laid back styles of videos. And everybody's been talking about this in the last year, saying, oh, YouTube's going back to the old style where it's just no thumbnails, low effort strategies and everything else, and just sort of vlogging style videos. And there is an element of truth to that, but I'm going to get into why people have missed why this is successful and missed the point of the strategy. So this one, again, he's doing incredibly well. Literally just a really muscly guy, nearly 8 million monthly views, which is crazy for this type of low effort vlogging content. And then the next one we have is one called Madeline Argy, if I'm hopefully saying that right. I've only just come across this one. And she's a young woman who's basically just talking about very simple things. She's often sitting in a car or she's just sitting in bed and just talking to the camera about her life and her struggles or whatever else. And she is literally getting 1.2 million monthly views, even more than that, in fact. So again, very simple, low effort content, and it's doing incredibly well. Almost no thumbnails again. So we're seeing this strategy time and time again. But then if we go to a more classic type of vlog, I want to show you this as well throughout these examples, because these vlogs are very different. Now, these vlogs are still doing pretty well, still getting 500,000 views, but these are very polished. The thumbnails are well thought out. They're very story-driven, visually story-driven. So you're taking people on a journey. You're showing people amazing things. You're making it very cinematic. You're making it very visual. But these are highly polished videos. These are high production videos. And yet, they aren't performing as well. And that's because this is still very in-demand content, don't get me wrong, but it's the old way of vlogging. People are craving authenticity. So again, we see other young people who go on about that we need to document our life. And yes, being a vlogger of yourself where you're documenting your life and these sort of diary style channels, where I think he calls this My Digital Diary, this is vlogging with you being the topic. So you are the subject of the vlog. people are coming back to this to learn about you. So it doesn't matter what you're doing so much in the video. It's more your story, your journey, and you. They're buying into you. So you are essentially an influencer. So the topic of your content doesn't matter as much. Sure, you're going to see that some content performs better than others, but they're not coming for your traveling. They're not necessarily coming for the topics that you're talking about. They're just coming to check in, and it's sort of voyeurism and really the sort of in real life. Well, not in real life. It is in real life, but it's the kind of reality show style where we're buying into the celebrity and the individual, and we're curious about them. But these are slightly different. And here's what I mean. And this is why I call it the grandpa method. And it's because they talk on a particular subject that goes round in circles. But there is one singular point to the videos. So there is always a singular point that this guy talks about. But he does the grandpa method. So if you know the grandpa in The Simpsons, and it's been a long time since I've watched The Simpsons, but I remember that everybody always complained about his stories, that they were meandering. So they go round in a circle and they go off in tangents, and sometimes you don't even reach the end destination, but there was one singular point to the conversation that started. So it's a very meandering type of way of getting in that general direction. And if you think about programs such as Seinfeld or The Office, these are mundane general things, but there's always one small point to the program itself, but the rest of it is just daily lifestyle and everything else in real life. And these are things that I hear lots of the sort of Gen Z saying in IRL, in real life, and that's becoming a thing. We want more of the in real life now. We're craving that authenticity. But what the reason these are successful is because of that meandering in real life. You feel like you're talking to a friend. But the difference between these and the traditional sort of vlog is there is a point to it. And this is where this type of strategy can work for anybody that is, say, in the expert or educational, or you have something to teach. So rather than, let's say, you having a very highly edited video that you scripted and planned out on the 10 best reasons for this particular thing, if you took 1 or 2 points out of that, let's say the main 3 points, and then you went about your day walking around, changing scene, perhaps some of it was in the office, and then another part was you having lunch and telling another point, and you taking people throughout your day on the journey. But you're not a travel vlogger. You're not somebody just walking down the street vlogging about their life diary style like the other channel I showed you. You're still an educator. You change the format, but you don't have to do lots of editing because the changes of scene and the background and the other things going on are the meandering. Maybe you stop to talk to someone, so you stop talking about the topic you were talking about. Grandpa style, tangents. You go off a little bit here and then you come back to it. Meander off again and then you come back to it. So there's always a point to it. You're still educating on one particular thing. So you actually have to plan your videos less. All you have to do is pick one particular point that you want to speak about. Now, people are doing this in cars. As you can see, you've probably seen many channels out there where people speak in cars because, you know, it's easy. It's soundproofed almost. So it's a good place to actually record with just your phone or anything like that, especially if you don't have microphones yet. But these conversations are what people want to know about. So you could talk to a particular topic and then say, so it's mental health or hustle culture. So he's talking about particular topics and sharing his views and opinions. Sam Sulek, everybody says that his content is very simple. There's not much going on. There's no edit. There's no thumbnails. That's not true. These are well thought out. So yes, he just talks on topics and he's a day in the life, but there's always a point to what he's doing. And if you look at these are all engineered as well. And there's going to be another point that I think people have missed out on that I'm going to get to very soon. These are engineered. Like this visual here, you may say, well, it's not an edited, it's a planned thumbnail. It's still planned. You still plan out when you're out and about in your head a few shots you may want for your thumbnail to then use. And then you could add a couple of words. He has a very interesting physique. He's massive. So he's built, and that's interesting. He's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger. If we look at this one, Sulek, so it's got his clothing brand and then him posing in a Olympian sort of style. And what we can see, he's shredding. So he's obviously got a competition, hence the pose. And then talking about the clothing announcement and the clothing. This is planned. Posing. planned. He's showing the muscles off. The muscles are the pull. It's the same here. He's a cowboy. It's interesting. And this is the point I want you to take. You can vlog traditional style like these diary ones if you're interesting. Or you can be teaching something that's interesting. So this comes back to the educational part. You make the in real life and the interesting part and you bring them together. But the reason people are coming to Sam Sulek is because he's visually interesting. He's achieved something great and you can see that. That makes him interesting. So we come back to that. But you also teach a nugget. So if we were just saying about his life and him being interesting, that would probably still be enough for Sam Sulek. But it may not be enough for you or me. I am not built like him. I'm probably not as interesting in terms of what I'm doing and to the audience. So you have to find ways to be more interesting, and that comes across with the educational style. So you need an element of something extra. Just vlogging without being that interesting, you have to try and make your day and the mundane sound interesting, which is possible, but then that requires great skill in terms of editing and storytelling. So you're either interesting in terms of your capability for recording videos and editing, or you're interesting in the way that you come across and the things that you talk about. So you have to have interesting, you have to either be interesting or have an interesting subject that you are talking about. So that is the grandpa style, and that's what I recommend. So literally merge interesting, find a way to be interesting, but if you're weird or quirky or whatever else, embrace that, bring that in. But otherwise, the mundane is interesting. And this is what I want you to drill home as well. Programs like The Office and Seinfeld were interesting to the masses because we can all relate to the boring and the mundane. That is what we like. It's comfortable, it's warming, we relate to it, we know it because we all experience it. When you're doing a travel vlog and you're out in some far-flung country and it looks beautiful and amazing, yes, we're all interested in that for that reason. And then you're a plan B to that. But unless you're going to be a travel vlogger for the rest of your life, at some point you're going to want to stop for a while. And then what? So the idea is, yes, just walking down the street in your city or your town is visually interesting. People like to see what's going on around. So you're adding an extra layer to your educational videos. So that's what I'm saying. You can do these vlogging channels, but no longer it's just vlogging. No longer just diary vlogging, unless you're doing something interesting or you're an interesting person. But if you add the educational part or some type of thing in between, then you will succeed. It needs a second layer. And that's where the grandpa style of storytelling that meanders but does have an actual point is the method that you should be using in 2025. So I hope you got something out of that. If you would like more training on growing your YouTube channel, then we do have a free community and free training. The link is in the video description. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next one.